and welcome back to another segment of Life Changing Solutions Live. And I, kind of got my buddy over here, Danny. I'm like, hop on.
This is what happens when you run out of things to talk about, and you're like, Danny, can you come on and let's change, let's solve some problems.
Right. I mean, because honestly, we just had a few guests on speaking about human trafficking, and the topic that I was thinking about was kind of still on the downer side. I'm like, we need to lighten this up and bring in the party. So he's like the walking, talking party.
Yeah, I mean, those two segments that you did, one was in Spanish, one was in English, so we're going to put those out there because, I think you're right. We're not going to talk about this the whole segment that, guys like me, I have my wife, I have my 2 kids, and I'm just running all over the place, living my life. We don't think that it could happen to us. Mm-hmm. But I say it all the time. These predators, they're very good. They know how to be a 35-year-old man disguising themselves as a 17-year-old with, I have a car and I have a job and I work at the subway and you're cute and I like the way your picture is. They know what to do and say.
Oh, yeah.
They are pros at being predators. So as parents, it's you just got to keep your eye out. I mean, my one daughter uses social media all the time, and my other daughter can care less about it. But that's one thing that scares me. I don't know what they know.
Yeah, and it's scary because sometimes I know what they know. And it's like, my kids, I sometimes listen to them talk, and some of the things that they're saying, I'm like, what? Where did this even come from? And so I think it is important for parents to really get involved and not freak out for some of the information that this is internet age. The kids can Google just about anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that scares me is, back in the day, my parents bought me an encyclopedia, and they were just books, A through Z, and that's where I got all my information from. And so now it's a different world. So anyway, parents, just try to keep an eye and do the best job you can, and look for any red flags because it could literally roll you over. Because you're right, my 13-year-old child has access to stuff that I don't even know about.
Right.
So.
And but yeah, as far as parents, and that's something that I also I do parenting classes,
right.
And that comes up, and it's how do I talk to my kids, and I guess we'll just go with that as far as I jokingly say that my kids are my biggest guinea pigs when it comes
right.
to my therapy services and everything else that I do. And there was a point where I got to my oldest son started dating.
Right.
And so I even said to him, because as we talked about, there's no point in me sitting here and telling you about the birds and the bees, because most likely you're going to be able to give me some tips. That's the reality. But I said, I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about what people don't talk about, which is the emotional responsibility of being in a relationship.
Right.
And it's yes, a little biased. I'm such a proud mom. My son has turned out to be an amazing boyfriend, and he really tries to look out for her. But those are the things that we forget to teach our children. We're always so scared and don't do this and don't do that and cover up and, you got to be a nice boy, nice girl. But we don't talk about what it really is to be in a relationship as a kid.
Yeah, because I never was in one when I was a kid. I never had a girlfriend till I was out of high school, and I was well in my 20s. So I never really dealt with any of that. They were always out of reach. So anyway, so I never had to deal with that. I have 2 daughters. I don't know. In some ways, I'm a great dad. In some ways, I'm a C+ dad. So yeah, when it comes to I don't know. It's tough because my wife will not help me at all on this. So it's just you talk to him about it. And so I don't know.
Well, no, and that's the funny thing, and this is what I see a lot when it comes to especially dads and
right.
daughters. The relationship of dads and daughters. It's just how you I think this is the first time I've ever watched you stumble over your words just in the thought of your daughters possibly dating. And what do you say and how do you talk to them?
Well, it's kind of interesting because my daughter does have a boyfriend. And I actually, at this point, like this guy. he seems to be okay, but he does have a penis. So, I don't care how great he is. Smart guy, he's going to college now. He's, super smart in the school. And at this point, I do not have any real complaints. I just had to, realize, I look back when I was 16, I was prowling, man. I was, it was Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, if you remember that song. And if you don't, Google it. And so I really can't complain too much.
But have you spoken to your daughter? Or are you just letting her figure it out on her own?
Well, I guess at this point, since they've been dating a year, I'm a little too late to the party as far as let's talk about your relationship. I guess I just, in my house, you have to follow my rules. I told her straight up, I will not raise another generation. So do not put yourself in a position where I have to raise another kid, and I will not. So at this point, and it could all change. It could all. I mean, an unwanted pregnancy can happen to the smartest girl and the smartest guy. They just are stupid for, a couple minutes. And I realize that. I just hope I did the best I could, because at this point I feel she's almost full grown. What's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah, but again, like in working with parents and stuff like that, like I've never known a parent to say, or at least admit to me, oh, let me see how I can screw my kid up today. They don't
Right.
wake up every morning.
Right.
Everybody operates on the best of their capabilities. But what I'm talking about, and it's like, sorry, just to kind of put it out there, is we don't talk to our kids. We watch them, we observe them, we tell them what the rules are, but we never really connect with them and be like, all right, so how do you handle a breakup? How do you handle, this? Or how do you handle actually those 5 minutes of pure bliss? Like, it's not always just about the sex talk. It's about the relationship talk, about how do you, and even bringing back in the subject of human trafficking.
Right.
How do you empower your children, both men and women? Like, how do you empower them to avoid these type of situations?
Well, I would suggest, and I'm no expert, I would say those years when your daughter is, they go into junior high still building forts and making slime. And by the time they're out of junior high, they're biologically women. There is a period from the 6th grade to about the 8th grade that I think is a very important years to be in a good communication, good standing. Now, the relationship with my oldest daughter at that period of time was terrible. And even though it's a good relationship now, there is some missing aspects. My youngest daughter, who's the soccer phenom, and she's in the 7th grade, I am in her life every day, where I was not. My oldest daughter didn't want me to pick her up. She was all worried, Dad, I don't want anybody to see you, that type of scenario. And instead of continuing to engage, I just said, well, if you don't want me to be around, I won't be around. And I really, those 2 years where I should have been having that communication, I did not. Not that everything's bad now, everything's good now, but at the same time, there is a difference between my youngest, where I'm in her life every day, and my oldest, where those year and a half, those 2 years, where she went from still a little girl to literally biologically a woman, I was not engaged. And that's where you need to be engaged.
Yes.
Because at this point, she's almost 17. Okay? Hey, another year, she could literally walk out of my house. I can't do a damn thing about it. So.
True, but here's the other thing, too. I'm a total daddy's girl. Everybody knows it, and obviously I'm not ashamed to admit it. You always need your dad, so it doesn't matter. It's like 17,
right.
70.
Right. She might not realize it yet, but the relationship with both my children are good. I'm just saying that year and a half to other parents, when your girl goes into junior high, that's where you really need to get this in the sports, in the communication, have them in the car, have them every day. You are got to be in their lives, because they are literally changing from a kid, an adolescent, to literally biologically a woman that 150 years ago they'd be prepping for marriage. Okay, so that's where you're at that point in time. I think that's an important time frame.
Absolutely. And so just little points to remember. Stuff happens everywhere. We're not safe from everything, and now with the use of internet, we're even closer than you think. And parents, talk to your kids and stay involved and really have that open communication, and it really is never too late. And just, enjoy your families, and I think our time is up.
Wow, we were thinking about what are we going to talk about.
I know. I was like, I have nothing to say. But so thank you so much, Danny, for hopping on. And I'll see everybody in a few weeks.
All right. Love ya.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.